The world just witnessed a move so bold, so strategic, that it has sent shockwaves through global markets. China has just cut off a crucial lifeline that U.S. industries have depended on for years. The impact of this decision is not just economic. It's a geopolitical earthquake that could reshape the balance of power. As this shocking development unfolds, one question looms large. Is this the beginning of the fall of U.S. dominance? Tensions between the United States and China have been simmering for years, with both nations engaged in a high-stakes economic and technological battle. But now, China has played a card that could change the game entirely. By cutting off a key resource, one that American industries desperately need, China has put the U.S. in a vulnerable position. The consequences of this move are not just significant, they are potentially catastrophic. Imagine factories grinding to a halt, supply chains thrown into chaos, and industries struggling to survive. This is not some far-fetched scenario. It's the grim reality that may be unfolding right now. Whether it's rare earth minerals, critical semiconductor components, or another vital resource, the sudden disruption could cripple entire sectors of the U.S. economy. These materials are the backbone of everything from smartphones to military defense systems. Without them, production slows, costs skyrocket, and companies face devastating losses. For decades, the United States has been the world's leading economic powerhouse. But that dominance has always come with one major risk: dependence on global supply chains. Over the years, China has positioned itself as the world's manufacturing hub, controlling the supply of crucial materials that the U.S. can't easily replace. Now, with a single calculated move, China has flipped the script. By cutting off exports, it has turned that dependency into a weapon, and the effects are already rippling through the financial markets. The immediate impact of this decision is clear. American industries are now scrambling to find alternatives. But finding new suppliers for such critical resources is not something that can happen overnight. Other countries may have some capacity, but none can match China's dominance in these sectors. The U.S. government may try to intervene, but without a quick and effective solution, many industries could be forced to scale down operations or shut down altogether. As economic pressures mount, geopolitical tensions are set to escalate as well. The United States is unlikely to take this move lightly. Washington has several options on the table: diplomatic negotiations, economic retaliation, or even further trade restrictions against China. But every move comes with risks. Retaliation could trigger an even more aggressive response from China, pushing both nations closer to an all-out economic war. The bigger question is, what happens next? Can the U.S. recover from this blow? Or is this the beginning of a long-term decline? Throughout history, America has faced countless challenges and emerged stronger. But this time, the stakes are higher than ever. China's latest move is not just about economics. It's about power, control, and the future of global dominance. The outcome of this battle will shape the world for years to come. The consequences of this decision are far-reaching. Without access to these essential supplies, U.S. companies will face higher costs and severe delays, disrupting everything from tech manufacturing to defense production. This isn't just an economic setback. It's a direct hit to America's industrial backbone. Geopolitical tensions are also set to escalate. With Washington already in a trade war with Beijing, this latest move could trigger a new wave of retaliation. The U.S. may scramble to find alternative suppliers, but replacing China's massive output won't happen overnight. In the meantime, American businesses will struggle, and consumers could feel the impact through rising prices and limited product availability. Some experts warn that this could mark the beginning of a global power shift. If China continues to use economic leverage as a weapon, the long-term effects could be disastrous for U.S. influence on the world stage. However, history has shown that America has the ability to adapt and bounce back from crises. The question now is, how will the U.S. respond? Will it find a way to regain control, or is this the moment China takes the upper hand? The United States thought it had China backed into a corner. A fresh round of tariffs was supposed to squeeze Beijing, force its hand, and bring it to the negotiation table. But China didn't flinch. Instead of retreating, it executed a strategy that had been in motion for years. The initial counterpunch, hitting back with its own tariffs, was just the beginning. Behind the scenes, China was making moves that would shift the entire global economy. Fast forward to February 2025, and tensions have reached a boiling point. The U.S. unleashes a massive wave of tariffs, over $60 billion worth. targeting critical Chinese imports, computer parts, electric vehicle components, the essential building blocks of modern technology. It's more than just a trade war. It's a battle for control, a power struggle over who dictates the future of the global economy. Washington presents its actions as a move to protect American jobs, but to China, it's a direct challenge to its rising dominance on the world stage. Beijing doesn't panic. It doesn't rush. It plays the long game, waiting for the perfect moment to strike where it hurts the most. Within days, China retaliates with $35 billion in tariffs on American goods. But this isn't just about numbers. It's about strategy. Beijing carefully selects targets that hit politically sensitive regions. Soybeans from the Midwest, a direct blow to America's agricultural heartland. Oil from Texas, a critical piece of the energy industry. China's message is clear. It's not just battling the U.S. economy. It's turning American businesses against their own government's policies. And that's just the opening act. While Washington is fixated on tariffs, Beijing is securing its future. New trade deals with Brazil, Russia, and even Mexico ensure that China isn't reliant on American imports. But the real game changer isn't in oil or agriculture. It's in something far more valuable: rare earth minerals. These hidden treasures are the foundation of modern technology, powering everything from smartphones to fighter jets. And China controls over 80% of the global supply. It doesn't need to make loud threats. A subtle hint at restricting exports sends shockwaves through industries worldwide. The message: if you want to build the future, you still need China. But China isn't done yet. The energy sector is next. New taxes on U.S. oil and liquefied natural gas, LNG, put enormous pressure on one of America's most powerful industries. For years, China has been a top buyer of American energy. Now, that demand is vanishing. Almost overnight, U.S. energy companies feel the sting. Contracts canceled, shipments stalled, profits nosediving. Meanwhile, China is already moving on, securing massive energy deals with Russia and the Middle East, ensuring its long-term independence from American fuel. Even if relations improve, these deals aren't disappearing, leaving the U.S. not just losing revenue, but ceding dominance in one of the world's most lucrative energy markets. And then comes the real showdown: technology. The U.S. cracks down hard, blocking China's access to high-end computer chips, banning Huawei, and cutting off Chinese firms from critical American partnerships. The goal is to cripple China's tech ambitions, but Beijing sees this as an opportunity, not a setback. Billions are funneled into developing homegrown semiconductors, artificial intelligence, and 5G networks. The result? China's tech industry isn't just surviving, it's thriving. In some areas, it's no longer catching up, it's pulling ahead. While the world watches the tariff battle, China plays another quiet but devastating card: U.S. debt. For years, China has been one of the largest holders of American government bonds, with over $800 billion invested. Selling it all at once would be risky, but making subtle moves, that's a different story. As China gradually reduces its purchases, the impact ripples through the U.S. economy. Borrowing costs rise, interest rates on home loans, car payments, and credit cards climb. It's not flashy, but it's a slow, relentless squeeze with real consequences. While Washington is caught in an economic fistfight, China is busy shaking hands elsewhere. It strengthens ties with Europe, Southeast Asia, and even longtime American allies like Latin America. The Belt and Road Initiative expands its reach, financing infrastructure projects that deepen China's global influence. This isn't just about avoiding tariffs. It's about reshaping the balance of power in world trade. American businesses aren't just losing Chinese buyers. They're now facing tougher competition in markets they once dominated. And China? It's moving in fast, and it's not slowing down. But the fallout isn't just between the U.S. and China. Canada and Mexico, two of America's closest trade partners, get caught in the crossfire. Hit with U.S. tariffs, they retaliate, raising taxes on American farm products, steel, pork, and whiskey. But instead of just fighting back, they pivot. Canada and Mexico begin increasing trade with China. And that's a serious problem. If America's neighbors shift away, U.S. influence in its own backyard starts to erode. For decades, China was the world's go-to manufacturing hub. But as trade tensions escalate, companies seek alternatives. China sees this coming and makes its move. investing in supply chains in Vietnam, Indonesia, and Africa. The plan is simple: keep global production within China's sphere of influence while sidestepping U.S. trade restrictions. For American businesses, this means one thing: higher costs and a longer, more expensive process to adapt. This isn't just a temporary shift, it's a fundamental transformation of the global economy. And for American farmers, the trade war isn't just an economic dispute, it's a disaster. China was once one of their biggest customers, buying massive amounts of soybeans, corn, and pork. Now, those sales are gone. Beijing turns to Brazil, Argentina, and even its own domestic farms. The result? U.S. farmers are left with surplus crops, plunging prices, and mounting debt. The government steps in with bailouts, but it's a temporary fix for a permanent problem. Once China secures new suppliers, it may never return to American farms. The pressure is building, and frustration is growing. But the impact isn't just on businesses, it's hitting everyday Americans. As tariffs pile up, costs creep higher. Groceries, electronics, household goods, everything gets more expensive. Consumers don't realize it at first, but slowly, budgets tighten, and wallets feel the strain. Meanwhile, stock markets swing wildly with each new trade announcement. Retirement funds, pension plans, and investment accounts suffer the consequences. What started as an economic chess match is now affecting millions of lives. The world isn't just watching, it's adapting. Southeast Asia, Europe, and emerging economies are forced to rethink their trade strategies. Companies that once relied on China or the US are caught in the middle, scrambling for stability. Global supply chains are shifting, and economic uncertainty is the new normal. But here's the real question. Even if the US and China reach a new trade deal, has the damage already been done? Trust has been shattered, supply chains permanently altered, and economic alliances rewritten. China isn't waiting for the dust to settle. It's accelerating. Billions are pouring into tech innovation, infrastructure, and global partnerships. The Belt and Road Initiative is cementing China's influence, ensuring its dominance in a new world order. For the U.S., the challenge is clear. This isn't just about trade deficits or tariffs. It's a battle for global leadership. Can Washington adapt to a world where China is rapidly gaining ground? Or is this the moment when the balance of power shifts permanently? The trade war may have started with tariffs, but it's ending as something much bigger, an economic power struggle that will define the future of global trade, finance, and technology. What do you think? Is China outmaneuvering the US, or will America find a way to reclaim its dominance? Let us know in the comments below.